Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. Barack Obama, well, he is a former president who just won't go away. He's back with yet another announcement, and that is really blowing a lot of people's minds because it is stunning in its hypocrisy. It just goes to show how shallow and superficial this character is. And before we get into what he had to say, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Barack Obama has been on a whirlwind media tour of late. He has been on podcasts where, well, let's just break this down. He is looking like a complete phony, and he is again weighing in on contemporary politics, criticizing the sitting president. I mean, he didn't have to deal with this. George W. Bush, well, he rode off into the sunset. He drew his bad paintings and he did whatever, watched baseball, and he just went away gracefully. You know, you can have your differences about George W. Bush and how effective his administration was and the Patriot Act and the rest of it, but he just was quiet and nice and just left the political scene. But you can't say the same for Barack Obama. He continues to make veiled shots at President Trump. He says that he doesn't represent his values. Well, thankfully, that is a good thing, Barack, because we don't want racial division in this country. We want us to have healing. We want us to unify as a country. We want to put aside our differences and be together to make a more prosperous, safe, and secure and successful country for everyone. And you are, quite frankly, in the way of that. And so it's no surprise that you just came out in support of California Governor Gavin Newsom and his, frankly, unconstitutional effort at the state level to go around the independent commission that is in charge of districting in order to so-called counterbalance what Texas did through its state legislature. So what he is doing now is he is complaining about Republicans trying to rig elections, meaning the 2026 midterms, and he is again interjecting himself into our political system to try to back Gavin Newsom. And well, let's hear what Barack has to say about this.
California, the whole nation is counting on you. Democracy is on the ballot November 4th. Republicans want to steal enough seats in Congress to rig the next election and wield unchecked power for 2 more years. With Prop 50, you can stop Republicans in their tracks. Prop 50 puts our elections back on a level playing field, preserves independent redistricting over the long term, and lets the people decide. Return your ballot today. Vote yes on 50.
Okay, Obama, you complaining about rigging elections is the height of absurdity because, well, the Russia collusion hoax started on your watch. And we have documents from Department of National Intelligence Chief Tulsi Gabbard that show the plot to spy on the Trump campaign to undermine his administration with bogus intelligence that was overhyped in an intelligence community assessment that came across your desk. Well, that all started with you, and you interfered in that election. I mean, FBI director at the time, James Comey, he let Hillary Clinton clean off the hook. We've seen the Democrats interfere in elections over and over again. But the districting at the state level in Texas should not mean that California gets to trample on the rules that were set in its state for a reason. They didn't want to see the Democratic Party redistrict the state and slice it and vivisect it and Jinsu knife it over and over and over again to give it a partisan advantage. It is already gerrymandered. You are trying to gerrymander it even more. So let's just hope that not only is this resolved in a sensible way in California where the voters come out and say, no, we were serious. We wanted an independent commission to preside over districting in our state. But that Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act that is at debate at the Supreme Court in oral hearings in Louisiana versus Calais, Well, that is resolved in such a way that the racial-based districting across the country, particularly in the South, gets blown to smithereens. And the Democratic Party, they will be reeling for a generation. Barack Obama is not wrong about that, but it's time that their systemic racism is ended. And Barack Obama, the racism that you injected into our bloodstream when it was on its way out, that is being rebuked. We want a colorblind society where the government treats all of us as equal, regardless of race, gender, religion, ethnicity. Needs to be equal rules for everyone. This is common sense. This is what Western civilization was built on. And we have had progress in this country for centuries, and you are turning back that progress. So you need to get on board the Trump train, ride it towards actual progress, and that is justice and fairness for all, and that's regardless of race. And so, what do you think about this story? Barack Obama, once again, throwing down in our politics, and is it appropriate for a former president to do this? Weigh in with your own comments. We always appreciate hearing from you at Explain America.